Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Finn Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fizz up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Finn Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Finn Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test. Expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheme. Better stand.
What up? Finn Posse Podcast fans. Welcome. I'm Big C, your host. This is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everybody doing today? Back again to talk Miami Dolphins football and still waiting on the Tua Tagovailoa news. And I want to start by saying how petty the Miami Dolphins front office is. Tua just recently had a birthday, right? And, you know, the Miami Dolphins typically on social media wish their players happy birthdays, practice squad players that aren't even necessarily under contract, but we're here. They wish them happy birthday on social media, right? The Miami Dolphins just completely ignored Tua Tagovailoa's birthday. And I think that's petty. The guy's still under contract, right? Again, you can't blame Tua Tagovailoa for the fact that you gave him an obscene amount of money for the limited production that he gave us, the limited wins that he gave us. That's not Tua's fault. That's the front office's fault. And I think it's very unprofessional the way they're kind of handling it right now. I mean, if anybody had thoughts that Tua was going to be on this team next year, I think that's the nail in the coffin right there, and to say that maybe Tua didn't, everybody noticed, right? Everybody noticed that the Miami Dolphins didn't wish their quarterback a happy birthday. And is meant as petty as it might sound, that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. I don't like how they're going about it. If you're going to move on from Tua, I'm cool with that. And I think the Miami Dolphins should move on from Tua at this point. But he's still a member of this team, and the fact that you didn't wish him a happy birthday, I think is pretty petty. I think it's pretty petty. But yeah, it is what it is what it is. Yeah, Joe, it's gonna be crazy when they do cut him. The amount of live streams, the amount of people going live, the amount of people that are going to talk about Tua Tagovailoa, whether you like Tua Tagovailoa or not, he's a captivating figure. I don't know if there's been a more captivating figure in the NFL, except maybe Tim Tebow. League wide, you know what I mean? Obviously, teams are captivated by their own players, but league wide, Tua Tagovailoa is in everybody's mouth. You know what I mean? Everybody talks about Tua Tagovailoa in his situation in Miami, and maybe it is because he suffered such a injury on primetime TV. He's the face of concussions. I think we can all agree upon that. You talk about concussions, Tua Tagovailoa's name comes up first and foremost. And maybe it's because he came from Alabama. I don't know what it is, but Tua's captivating. Again, the only other player that is on his level is Tim Tebow. Everybody had thoughts and opinions on Tim Tebow. But yeah, I mean, I don't like how the Miami Dolphins front office. What did it hurt to wish the guy happy birthday? I think it's petty. I think it's petty. Joe says, I thank him for the wins we did get. It's mostly excitement about the future. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong about being excited for the future. There's nothing wrong with wanting to move on from Tua Tagovailoa. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm not criticizing that. I'm criticizing the fact that technically this guy is still a member of your team. You wish practice squad players happy birthdays. Guys that aren't even under real contracts. And you don't wish Tua Tagovailoa, your team's highest paid player, whether he's not going to be here next week or not. What does it hurt? What does it hurt to wish a guy happy birthday? And I think that's a bad look on this franchise. You don't think other players around the league are taking a look at how the Miami Dolphins are handling Tua Tagovailoa and gaining an opinion of this franchise? You don't think other players around this league are looking at the Miami Dolphins and watching, this guy put his life at risk for this team. He put his life at risk. He continued to go out there every chance he was given with the concussions. And yeah, you can say that he was chasing a bag, and he was. He didn't do it for strictly the Miami Dolphins. He was doing it because he wanted to get paid. But he did risk his life for the Miami Dolphins. He risked his well-being for the Miami Dolphins. And the fact that you can't show him some acknowledgement, some appreciation for what he did do here. And yeah, he didn't live up to expectations. But something so simple. The Dolphins dropped the ball on that one, in my opinion. And Joe, I was saying the same thing, brother. I was saying the same thing while you posted that. Good morning to everyone in the chat. Let's say our good mornings real quick before we dive into this is a topic that I've been discussing for weeks, it seems like. But free agent quarterbacks that the Miami Dolphins may be pursuing, it doesn't make sense to me, but we'll get into it in a second. Marcos, good morning. Bonnie, good morning. Cap, good morning. Joe, good morning. Edward, good morning. Christian, good morning. JD, good morning. Good morning, brother. Good morning. Um, yeah, let's jump into it. The Miami Dolphins are obviously releasing Tua. Obviously, we just discussed the non-birthday wishes that the Miami Dolphins media team did not give Tua Tagovailoa. That leaves us with Quinn Ewers, right? That leaves us with Quinn Ewers. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins are going to have to look to free agency to add a quarterback. They got to come up with some cap room first and foremost. We're sitting at like $1 million under the cap right now. They got to come up with some money somewhere. There's the Malik Willis rumors running wild. Nobody knows what kind of contract this guy is going to demand. You're hearing crazy numbers, then you're hearing some numbers that are more down the earth. For me, I'm staying far as I can get away from signing Malik Willis. It makes no sense for the Miami Dolphins to go and sign Malik Willis. First and foremost, Malik Willis. Nothing against the guy. He's done a great job for the Green Bay Packers when his number's been called. When his number's been called, when Jordan Love has had to miss games, or when Jordan Love has had to exit games, Malik Willis has been lights out. Malik Willis has been lights out. But I think we can all agree that coming in for relief, starting a game here or there, is a lot different than being the starting quarterback for a franchise. Obviously, Malik Willis was drafted by the Tennessee Titans. For whatever reason, it didn't work out in Tennessee. He then made his way to Green Bay, again, backing up Jordan Love. I just don't know if this guy is the answer for any team as far as a franchise quarterback goes. I think whatever team that signs Malik Willis is going to end up having buyer's remorse. First off, the guy's undersized. He's not a big guy. He relies on his legs a lot. I think that puts him in a position that, them guys that run the ball a lot, they put themselves in positions to get hurt more frequently than guys that are pocket passers. Now, you would love for your quarterback to have some type of athleticism that can escape the pocket, get you a first down when, the defense is sitting back and they're giving you those yards. You want a quarterback that can run for those yards. I don't think you want a quarterback that relies 60-40 on their legs. I don't think that's the type of quarterback that you want. Malik Willis just does not have enough starting experience to garner a $30 million a year contract, in my opinion. He just doesn't. And if you look at this Miami Dolphins roster, they're not a team ready to compete. They're not. They're not going to sniff the playoffs this year. I don't care what quarterback you bring in. And this goes, it's not just Malik Willis I'm attacking. Kyler Murray is expected to be released from the Arizona Cardinals. There's a lot of people clamoring for Kyler Murray. Oh, we can bring Kyler Murray in super cheap because Arizona still's got to pay Kyler Murray. Again, Kyler Murray, what is Kyler Murray doing for the Miami Dolphins? What is the point? Why would the Miami Dolphins do that? Would it improve the team right now? If signing Kyler Murray, would he be a better starting option than Quinn Ewers? Probably for this year, yeah. I think if you brought Kyler Murray into the Miami Dolphins this year, he'll get you more wins than what Quinn Ewers will. And that's me strictly guessing. I have no evidence to support that. I think Kyler Murray is probably the better quarterback at this point. Quinn Ewers, I think, has got potential. How much potential? I'm not sure. He showed flashes of some good things last year. But again, not a big enough sample size to say that this guy for sure is a NFL starting quarterback. I think Quinn Ewers proved that he deserves to be in the NFL. Just not a big enough serving size to say that Quinn Ewers should be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So again, Kyler Murray may be the better option this year. But what are we talking about? We're talking about a team that has a million roster holes on it. There's so many holes on this roster. You know, you don't, I mean, again, who's our starting corners? Who's our starting receivers not named Jalen Waddle? Look at our offensive line. Who's playing guard? Who's our safeties? Who's our pass rushers? So many holes. So many holes. So again, what's Kyler Murray going to do for you? This team is a 3-win team right now. If you're lucky. If you're lucky. You know, people saying that the Jets are going to be worse than us. I don't see it. The Jets got 3 first-round draft picks this year. They got some talent on the roster. I don't see us being worse than the Jets this year. To be honest, I think it's going to be come right down to us in Arizona probably for the worst team in the NFL. Can Kyler Murray improve that? Can Kyler Murray get us to 5 wins? Possibly. Possibly. He's a mobile quarterback. He's got a way stronger arm than Tua Tagovailoa. Now, I don't think he's as accurate as Tua Tagovailoa, but he can run the ball with his legs. He can run. But Kyler Murray struggles to stay healthy also. Let's take a look at Kyler Murray's career stats. Kyler Murray had his last healthy season was 2024. Besides that, he's only got 2 other healthy seasons. His rookie year and then his sophomore year, he played all 16 games. Other than that, 2021, he only played 14 games. 2022, he only played 11 games. 2023, 8 games. And last year, 5 games. Last year in his 5 games, he threw 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 68% completion percentage. He also ran for 173 yards and a touchdown. So he brings that athletic element to a team. But again, you can't rely on him to stay healthy. His last full season was in 2024. He had 3,800 yards passing, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Not horrible. 68% completion percentage. His rating was 93.5, QBR 63.4. He ran for 522 yards and added 5 more touchdowns. Those aren't bad numbers. Those aren't bad numbers. But again, what does it make? Is this Kyler Murray the future for the Miami Dolphins? No. He's not the future of the Miami Dolphins. Even if you were to sign Kyler Murray's going to come in on a 1-year prove-it deal. He's going to come in on a 1-year prove-it deal. And let's say he balls out. He's going to want another big contract. He's going to want another big contract. And, you know, an undersized player that's already had injury issues, how long are you really going to be able to count on him for? And are you really trying to give a quarterback that if he comes in and balls out, are you really willing to put your faith in a quarterback that has a plethora of injuries throughout his career, all because he balled out one season? Not me. I just don't think it makes sense. Also, you bring Kyler Murray in this year, he balls out. He gets us the 5-12, 6-11. All that does is take us out the hunt for the number one pick in the 2027 draft. Same with Malik Willis. Same with the Kirk Cousins. Same with any other free agent quarterback that you could bring in that could start for the Miami Dolphins immediately. Why would you want to damper your chances of getting the number one draft pick in 2027? That's the key to all this, folks. Now you can look at this year's draft. Ty Simpson absolutely impressed me at the combine. Ty Simpson absolutely impressed me at the combine. I think he probably moved himself into the first round of this draft. And interesting enough, we're talking about Kyler Murray right now. I think Arizona ends up trading back into the first round and drafts Kyler Murray at the very tail end of the first round. Or not Kyler Murray, my fault. Ty Simpson. I think they end up trading back into the first round and drafting Ty Simpson at the end of the first round. Now, there's been lots of talk of should the Miami Dolphins take Ty Simpson at 11? Should the Miami Dolphins take Ty Simpson at 11? And I heard TD talk about it and say that, if they felt that if the Dolphins feel like they should take Ty Simpson at 11, he won't be mad at it. Me, I'm not for it. Again, Ty Simpson impressed me. He impressed me at the combine. He did. He threw the ball really well. And Ty Simpson did deal with some things last year. He had gastrus tornitis or whatever it's called. That caused significant weight loss last year. He lost 30 pounds towards the end of the last year. Nasty stomach illness. So he did deal with that last year that, hampered his production. But why would you reach for Ty Simpson at 11? Why? Why would you reach for Ty Simpson? When you got such a bad team, you're going to be bad this year. For anybody that really thinks that the Miami Dolphins have a chance to compete this year with we don't have any cap room. We don't have a starting quarterback. We don't have quality weapons outside of HN and Waddle. Our defense has a plethora of holes. What makes you think we're going to be able to compete this year? Everything is pointing at this team being one of the worst teams in the NFL. And Cap, why would you trade for McKee or Mac Jones? Are either of those quarterbacks the quarterback of the future in your eyes? Are either of those quarterbacks the quarterback of the future? So what's the sense? I'm only looking for future players for this team. If you're not part of the future, why am I going to get you? If you can't help this team for the future, why am I going to get you? Why am I going to get you? Why would I? And Ty Simpson, you talk about Ty Simpson, Drew Allard, I would absolutely draft him if he falls in the 4th, 5th round. If he's available in the 5th round, I'm pulling the trigger. I think Allard's got a big arm. I think he was impressive throwing the football at the combine. I absolutely take a shot at him. I absolutely take a shot at him if he's there in the 5th, possibly even there in the 4th. I would absolutely take Allard because there's no pressure just because you take a Lar in the 4th or 5th round, you still draft a quarterback in the 1st round in the 2027 NFL draft. You still draft a quarterback in the 2027 NFL draft. Do I take Ty Simpson in the 2nd round? If Ty Simpson's there with our 2nd round pick without trading up, sure, I'd pull the trigger on Ty Simpson. If Ty Simpson's there in the 2nd round with our 2nd round pick without having to trade up for him, sure, I'd take Ty Simpson in the 2nd. But again, that does not handcuff me from taking a quarterback in the 1st round of the 2027 NFL draft. Take a look at the 2027 NFL draft. They're saying it could be historically good. Things might finally be going our way for once. We're usually in the wrong place at the wrong time. We might actually be in the right place at the right time as far as this rebuild is concerned. This draft class coming up, as far as quarterbacks are concerned, is deep, is super deep. They're saying it could be historically good. The 2027 NFL quarterback draft class has the potential to be historic, with analysts projecting it as one of the deepest and most talented groups in league history, potentially rivaling or exceeding the 2024 class headlined by elite talent like Arch Manning. The class could also feature up to 8 first-round picks. Top prospects: Arch Manning, Texas, is considered a potential top overall selection, alongside other elite talents like Dante Moore, Lenora Sellers, and Julian Sayin, and DJ Lagway. Historic depth: scouts and analysts, including Todd McShay, have labeled this sensational class as one of the best in the common draft era, potentially featuring numerous franchise-altering quarterbacks. Key drivers: the class is fueled by quarterbacks who have shown immense physical tools and high-level college production, with many returning for the 2026 season to further refine their skills. Impact on the NFL: the depth of this class is so anticipated that some NFL teams may consider waiting until the 2027 to address their quarterback needs, rather than reaching for talent in the 2026 draft. Miami Dolphins. While projected as historic, the 2000 draft class is still a year away from draft eligibility, and individual prospect performances and health in the 2026 college season will determine its final standing. Bonnie, they may say that about a bunch. I mean, Dante Moore was going to be probably the 2nd quarterback taken in this draft. He'll be available. You know, you got Arch Manning, who's got all the tools to succeed. Yes, he didn't have the greatest college season last year. But again, players grow. And if Arch Manning has anywhere near the brain that of a Peyton Manning, of a Eli Manning, you know, he's more physically talented than both those guys. And you got Arch, you got, you know, he's got Eli and Peyton helping him. You know he does. I expect big things from him. DJ Lagway out of Florida, Lenora Sellers out of South Carolina. There's a lot of guys in this draft class. There's a lot. And yeah, nobody's a guarantee, right? But that's why you got several options. You know, you go with Quinn Ewers this year. You take a Lar. You take a Lar if he's there in the 4th, 5th round. You got your prospect next year. And we don't necessarily, you're looking forward to 2028. We don't have to wait till 2028. The way these quarterbacks come into this league and perform right out the gate, the way these quarterbacks get drafted and they're starting day one and putting up big numbers day one, we could compete next year. If they make the right moves this year, we could compete as early as next year. Think about it. You add key players in this year's draft to this roster. Continue to build up the roster. Go out and draft all your positions in need. And you can't fill them all. You can't fill them all. But you fill as many as you possibly can. Best player available at position of needs. We have a lot of needs. And this draft is very defensive heavy. It's a deep defensive class. So you can get pass rushers. You can get corners. You can get safeties. And those are some of the key areas that Miami Dolphins need to fill this year. The Miami Dolphins need 2 starting corners. They probably need 2 starting safeties, especially if we move on from Fitzpatrick. We need at least 1 pass rusher, probably 2. Yeah, hit that like button for me. That's crazy that, we only got 4 likes and 16 people in the chat. Hit that like button for me, man. I ain't got the big name. I ain't got the big numbers like my counterparts. You know what I mean? I need your guys' help. I need your guys' help to help build the channel. I appreciate you guys looking out. Thank you. But yeah, we could compete as early as 2027 if this regime, and they keep saying how Sully is the draft is his baby. He's such a good talent evaluator. Well, let's see what he does. If Sully's really as good as advertised, you got this year to help fill out the roster. And then you got next year's draft class too. And then not to mention, you got $150 million or so in free agent dollars you can spend. So if you fill out the defense this year, maybe next year you get your quarterback in the first round. Add a couple other pieces here or there, maybe another guard, maybe another receiver, and then you could take your free agent dollars, $150 million. I'd re-sign HN. I know that's some people don't want that. They find it unpopular. We definitely need to build through the draft, but nothing is for sure when it comes to the draft. Players get injured, fizzle out, decide to stay in college, etc. Yeah, Bonnie, most of those guys, Lenore Sellers, he's definitely going to be out. Dante Moore, he's definitely going to be out. There's going to be prospects, high-end prospects, that are going to be in next year's draft. And shoot, Bonnie, maybe someone, let's say Arch doesn't come out next year. And we're not in love with none of the draft prospects next year. Don't force it. And then guess what? 2028, Arch does got to come out. And maybe Arch ain't the answer. But I'd rather this team make right decisions than and get this thing going in the right direction. I'd rather it take a couple more years. I'd rather not compete till 2028 if it means we're making right decisions. Don't force taking a quarterback because you feel we need a quarterback. If you're not in love with the quarterback, this year, if you're not in love with the quarterback, even next year, don't take a quarterback. Take the player that's going to best help this team for the next 10 years. And we'll get our quarterback eventually. Eventually, we'll get our quarterback. When you start forcing it, that's when bad things happen. That's when bad things happen. That's when things like Tua Tagovailoa happens. You draft a quarterback that maybe you shouldn't have drafted, especially in a position you shouldn't have drafted him in. Tua coming off a major hip injury, should have never been taken at number 5. You obviously weren't in love with Justin Herbert, or you would have took Herbert over Tua. What would have happened if the Dolphins would have took somebody else? What would have happened if the Dolphins wouldn't have took a quarterback in that draft? What would have happened? Let me see if I can. Let me take a look real quick. Let me see. All right, so obviously the Miami Dolphins weren't in love with Justin Herbert. Yeah, all right, but they were in love with Herbert, obviously, because they would have took Herbert, right? We all know that the Miami Dolphins offered 4 first-round draft picks to move up to take Joe Burrow. Cincinnati didn't do that. I think Cincinnati was obviously dumb for not doing that, to be honest. Well, anyway. So the Dolphins weren't in love with Tua, or they weren't in love with Herbert, obviously. Let's look at the next picks. You got Derek Brown from Auburn, Isaiah Simmons from Clemson. I want to take either one of them. CJ Henderson from Florida. Jarek Willis, Alabama, no. Malik Becton, Louisville, no. Henry Ruggs III, Alabama. Tristan Whiffs, Arizona or Iowa at 13. You could have traded out of that. You could have traded out to that spot. You could have traded down, took Tristan Wirth, right? Got your bookend left tackle, right? Got you a bookend left tackle. Jesus. Sorry, having difficulty here. Spill my coffee. Could have got you a bookend left tackle, right? And then let's see. That probably wouldn't have worked out. That's why the draft is tricky. Because if we would have traded out and took a left tackle there and tried to get our quarterback the next year, it wouldn't have turned out any better because the top quarterbacks the next year were Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance. So that would have not worked in our benefit, I guess. It wouldn't have worked in our benefit. So, I mean, the right answer was taking Justin Herbert. The right answer was taking Justin Herbert. But again, the Miami Dolphins weren't in love with Herbert. And, Herbert has the physical tools to be a great quarterback. Has he put it all together yet? No. He's been very good in the regular season, but he doesn't have any more playoff success than Tua Tagovailoa does. And you can argue and say Tua's had more talent. But I think Justin Herbert's had enough talent in San Diego, LA to win playoff games. He just hasn't done it. Now, me, if you're asking me right now after the combine, obviously free agency is gonna be a telling story to what people do in the NFL draft. That's why free agency becomes before the draft, because you could fill holes in free agency that you no longer, that might not be a draft need for you any longer. So it could switch up the whole draft. But right now I have the Miami Dolphins selecting offensive tackle out of Miami, Francis Mauigoa. Is that how you say his name? Right now I got the Dolphins taking Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle out of Miami. I've been watching a lot of film on him. He's a steady blocker who's got mauling power that generates movement, and he's got good lower body quickness, quick feet. He's 6'5", 329. Drafting Francis allows the Dolphins to pair him with Patrick Paul. That would give the new regime a pair of bookend tackles to start this rebuild around. I think Austin Jackson's probably, they're going to try to move on from Austin Jackson. If Austin Jackson isn't willing to rework his contract, I think the Miami Dolphins are going to move on from Austin Jackson. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's never lived up to that draft potential. I don't know if he meets Jeff Hafley and Sully's criteria for what they want in an offensive lineman. And this is something that Chris Greer and his regime consistently neglected. They neglected the offensive line. We kept asking for it as fans. We kept begging to get an offensive line. So if Jeff Hafley and Sully can come in here and they can go out and get you one of the top tackles in this year's draft class to pair up with Patrick Paul, and that doesn't fill all our holes. We still have massive holes at guard. Jonas Savaiinaya, listen, I don't know if he's ever going to get it right. Yeah, it was only his rookie year, but he had a historically bad rookie year. Joe says if they go after Willis, these guys are out of here in 3 years. That's not a smart move. I agree. If they go after Willis, they are going to set this franchise back. I think if the Miami Dolphins sign Malik Willis, they are absolutely going to ruin this franchise for the next 3 to 5 years. Because Malik Willis, I have no questions that he'll come in here and he'll play decent, but he won't be good enough. He'll be good enough to ruin the draft for us next year, where we miss out on probably the top 3 to 5 prospects, or we don't even take a quarterback because we signed Malik Willis. And we'll miss out on a historically good draft class. And then watch. That draft class will come out and live up to the hype. And we'll have missed out on them because we wanted to sign Malik Willis, an undersized quarterback who likes to run the ball, who's got 6 starts under his belt. I think it'll be a massive disaster for the Miami Dolphins, and it'll be the beginning of the end. Even though it's year 1 for Hafley and Sully, it'll be the beginning of the end. Nobody's impressed. If you ask around the league, nobody's impressed with the hiring of Hafley and Sully. If you get people's real opinions, nobody's impressed with these guys. What did Coach Hafley do? I mean, Green Bay's defense was phenomenal last year when Parsons was there. When Parsons was out, that defense was bad. When Heffley was in college, he didn't have a good college program at Boston College. He wasn't good. And it just seems like he hired a bunch of his buddies. I'm sorry. That's what it seems like to me. A developmental quarterback, I mean, you're going to get what you know what I mean? There's a reason why they're so low. I mean, people are talking about, what's his name, Taylor Green. He's a phenomenal athlete, but is he a good quarterback? No, he's not a good quarterback. He's just a phenomenal athlete that plays quarterback. If the Miami Dolphins want a good quarterback, they are going to wait till 2027 and draft a quarterback in the top 5. That is the answer to the Miami Dolphins problem. If, of course, you know, somebody could end up being a bust, but their most realistic shot at getting this team turned around is getting a top pick in the 2027 draft and hitting a home run at the quarterback position. Christian, I'm going to support them. I'm going to support them, absolutely. Marco says Green is another Anthony Richardson. If you're lucky. I've heard from numerous outlets that people aren't impressed with these guys, Bonnie. I mean, it is what it is. As Dolphin fans and as Dolphin content creators, we're going to obviously hear that these guys are great. You know what I mean? They have 2 decent options on the bench. Who's the decent options on the bench? Listen, I'm starting Quinn Ewers here all year, and I'm seeing what he's got. I said Quinn Ewers, his quick release is beautiful. That quick release is special. And that's if somehow Quinn Ewers can win this job, come out and play crazy good football this year, that would be the best case scenario for the Miami Dolphins. How likely is that to happen? You know, I don't want to give up on the kid. Listen, he was a highly talented prospect coming out of high school. Even, you know, before his last year of college, he was all over the college programs. Quinn Ewers' hype was real. Now, he had a bad injury-plagued season at Texas last year. But Quinn Ewers got talent. Ewers got talent. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I did finally get monetized. You can always show support with the super chats. I appreciate those. We'll have memberships up here soon where I'm going to offer a lot of awesome perks. I'm going to be doing some giveaways here soon. If you're a member of the channel, you'll get extra entries into giveaways, so you'll have a better chance to win. A lot of cool things that we're going to be doing. I'll be live streaming the games for members. Madden previews, all types of stuff. A lot of great things coming your way. So keep an eye out for those things. Obviously, listen, nobody's got a crystal ball and can see into the future. I appreciate it, Miller. I appreciate the love. Nobody's got a crystal ball. Anybody that tells you they know exactly the best way to rebuild this team is only guessing. I'm only guessing. I can give you my opinion. And I think my opinion's pretty good, but I can't say for sure. Bonnie says, Big C, do you hate Green Bay, Lafella? No, I don't hate the Packers. I don't hate the Packers. But I'm not in love with how that franchise is ran. I'm not. I think the Packers have been very fortunate that they've been blessed at the quarterback position. And I think if you look at those teams, other than the quarterback position, I just don't think that the front office did a lot to support their quarterbacks. How many years was Aaron Rodgers upset with the lack of playmakers that they surrounded him with? How many years was it that they didn't draft a wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers in the first round? Christian with the super chat. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you for the love. For real, it means a lot. Thank you so much, brother. For real. But I just don't feel like Green Bay ever supported, you know what I mean? Did they draft okay? Sure. But again, who are the main think about the Packers last 25 years. Think about their draft picks. What stars did they ever really produce? Think about it. What players out there were really like league-wide NFL stars? Now they got the Devontae Adams pick correct. Devontae Adams was a star. Even through trades. They brought in Charles Woodson back, back in the day. They went out and got Parsons this year. But not typically a team that signs high price free agents, not a team that makes a lot of trades. And I just think that they got super fortunate that they had Brett Favre and then they were able to replace Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers. And I think we give them too much credit because they had two of the all-time great quarterbacks in this league's history. I mean, you got two Super Bowls in the last 50 years, and you had two of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, and you only got two Super Bowls out of it? I mean, how many years did Brett Favre play there? How many years did Aaron Rodgers? I mean, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit saying 50, but nobody must have watched the NFL Combine. Tom Simpson tore it up. Pinpoint passing workout. If not, Sonny Styles would probably completely change the dynamics of our defense. Lee, like I said, I was very impressed with Ty Simpson. I was super impressed with Ty Simpson. I'm not reaching for him at number 11. He's not worth the number 11 pick. Especially when we got such a bad roster this year that we're going to be I don't think Ty Simpson's necessarily better than what we're going to be able to get next year in the draft. If Ty Simpson's there with my number 2 pick, sure, I'm pulling the trigger on it. I don't think he will be. I think somebody will end up trading back into the first round and grabbing him. Shoot, maybe the Jets take him with one of their 3 first-round picks. But I'm not confident enough in Ty Simpson to take. Listen, I'm staying far and away from Alabama quarterbacks, to be honest. Name a star quarterback that's came from Alabama. Ever. Joe Namath. You know what I mean? And Sony Styles is going to be long gone. He's going to be long gone. He won't be there. Sony Styles, what he did at the combine, he ain't going to be there. I appreciate the comment, Lee. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, brother. Ty Simpson was absolutely phenomenal at the, but Drew Alar was nice too. Drew Alar threw the football really good too. And I'm super on board with taking him in the 4th or 5th round. If Alar's there, I'm taking him 4th, 5th round, 100%. Marco says, hopefully BY9 will be the first Alabama quarterback to be good. Marcos, weren't you ready to move on from BY9 last year? Not even Tom Brady won the Super Bowl every year. However, Green Bay was always stayed relevant and in the mix, which is more that I can say for Miami. Well, Bonnie, yeah, because they had great quarterbacks, and they did play in the NFC North. The NFC North, for a lot of years, wasn't good. For a lot of years, the Bears were really bad. Minnesota wasn't very good. I mean, Minnesota had some good years. They had the Randy Moss years. The Lions, after Barry retired, the Lions went downhill. So, I mean, yeah, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre did enough that they were going to be a good team. They made them competitive. And yeah, they've been way better than the Miami Dolphins. But again, that's not because of Halfley or Sully. That's not because of Halfley or Sully. It's not like Sully got there and he turned the franchise around, or Jeff Halfley got there and he turned the franchise around. You know what I mean? It'd be one thing if they were responsible for Green Bay's. I mean, I think people look at Green Bay's staying on top and being at the head of the NFL for the last 25, 30 years, and they're giving too much credit to Halfley and Sully, which they have zero responsibility for. Yeah, you're right. Sully was there. Sully was there, but how much say did Sully have? That's why I'd rather hire guys that clear cut were decision makers. Clear cut head coaches. You know what I mean? Clear cut turned a program around. Clear cut took over a bad defense and turned it into a good defense. You know what I mean? And Bonnie, I'm hoping that these guys I hope they're good. I hope they're great. I hope they're good. I hope they're great. You know what I mean? I just, I'm just telling you that I'm not fully on board with these guys. I don't think Halfley was necessarily an upgrade over Mike McDaniel. I can't help it. I think Mike McDaniel is a special play caller. I think Mike McDaniel is a special play caller. I can't say the same for Jeff Halfley. Now, Mike McDaniel had his issues. Mike McDaniel had his faults. But there was something special about Mike McDaniel. I don't know if there's something special about Jeff Halfley. Favre was great back in the day, but what he did to Minnesota should make people out an asterisk next to his name. He is a crap human. I mean, I don't know what he did in Minnesota. I know there was like a food stamp scandal. I don't know what he did to Minnesota, but yeah, I mean, listen, people make mistakes. People make bad choices in their life. It is what it is. I'm not here to judge anybody. I just judge football. You know what I mean? Which I think I have a right to judge football. I help support a fan base or a football team, and I think I should have the right to criticize that team. But moral of the story, I don't want to keep going back and forth. Mike McDaniel was special for making his players soft. I mean, I think that's just the nature of people today, right? I look at kids today and they couldn't handle the life that I lived. You know what I mean? I think people are just soft in general. You got to refer to some people as they, or you know what I mean? What are your pronouns? What? What? And I'm sorry if that you don't like what I'm saying right now, and I don't like to take it too political, but people are softer today. People are softer today. You didn't address me by my proper pronoun. What? What are we talking about? You know what? People are just naturally softer. I look at kids today now and I'm like, man, you can't. I look at my own kids and wonder, like, you know what I mean? Like, the things they get upset about. My mom would have just cuffed me. You know what I mean? You don't know what punished is. My mom whooped that ass. You know what I mean? My kids don't get no ass whoopings. And Mike McDaniel, he was a player's coach. He was. He let the players run the asylum. He let his star players run roughshod over him. He let the Jalen Ramseys, the Tyreek Hills go in there and do what they wanted to do. He did. He did. But you cannot say that the guy wasn't a talented play caller. And players are different now. Even if Mike McDaniel was soft on players, where were the other players in that locker room to step up to Tyreek, step up to Jalen Ramsey, like a Ray Lewis type? And you don't even have to be a star. Let's talk about Bill Romanowski, who would break your fucking face. You know what I mean? Where are the players to hold players responsible? There should have been some kind of players that have Mike McDaniel's back. If Mike McDaniel's a good player, a good coach for you, and treat you with respect, where were the players that had his back? Some college players are taking a payout to go to the NFL. They're already millionaires before they go to the league. That's true. And you're absolutely true, Bonnie. Quinn Ewers took a massive pay cut to come to the NFL. And that's the problem paying these college players. They're already entitled rich snobs that you can't have overly aggressive coaches. The day of the Bill Belichick's and the way he treated his players, you almost can't be a hard-nosed coach anymore because players won't want to play for you. They're already rich. They're already entitled. And I'm sure a fresh voice will be good for this team. I'm sure it will be. Again, I don't think we should not have moved on from Mike McDaniel. I question whether Jeff Hafley was the answer to the problem. But I think Mike McDaniel will eventually be one of the better NFL head coaches in this league. I'm sad that we got him when it was his first opportunity, because I think his next opportunity, he's going to fix a lot of his issues and he's going to be that much better for it. I just don't think we went looking for a head coach at the right time. We weren't an attractive option to potential head coaching candidates. So we got stuck with what we got stuck with. But anyway, the moral of the story is the Miami Dolphins should 100% stay away from signing any free agent quarterback to come in and start for this team and think that they're going to be a true difference maker. The only difference that they're going to make for this team with this roster, the way it's currently laid out, is taking us from a top 3 pick to a pick from 10 to 15. And that will be devastating to this rebuild. Giving Kyler Murray a contract, giving Malik Willis a contract, trading for Mac Jones, signing Kirk Cousins, any of those moves will be devastating to our rebuild. We need a top 3 pick in next year's draft. We need it. Because that is the true answer to hopefully filling our quarterback vacancy and finally replacing the great Dan Marino. That's key. We need a true blue franchise quarterback. And I think 2027 NFL draft is the best opportunity for the Miami Dolphins to snag that up. We're not a team that is gonna we're not anticipated to compete. We have too many holes. We just have too many holes. If you look at this post right here of playoff odds for this upcoming season, posted by Jamie Eisner, implied odds to make the NFL playoffs next season. The Bills, 77.8%, followed by the Ravens, Seahawks, Rams, Lions, Chiefs, Eagles, Patriots, Packers, Chargers. Down here, the Miami Dolphins, a 7.7% chance. These via betting odds from Bet Online. The Miami Dolphins, 7.7% chance to make the playoffs next year, just barely beating out the Arizona Cardinals. 4% behind the New York Jets and the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, if Vegas is telling you we're going to be bad, there's a good chance that we're going to be bad. If Vegas is planning on us being bad, there's a good shot we're going to be bad. And to be the second worst team in the league, we're talking 2-3 wins. 2-3 wins at most. To bring in Kyler Murray, to bring in Malik Willis, to bring in Kirk Cousins, that's only it's gonna improve this team. Chances are it's gonna improve this team, but not enough to make a playoff run. Just enough to mess up the 2027 NFL draft. And that is why we should refrain from signing any quarterback in the draft. God damn, I just spilled my coffee. All right, I'm going to get out of here because I'm making a mess. I'm spilling coffee everywhere. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Fins up. Thanks again, Christian. I appreciate the love. Again, anybody that sends me a super chat, I'm very much appreciative of it. Hit that like button, please. Subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Till then, fins up and peace.
Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. changing the game. Fins up high, feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing, we scorching the floor. Marino the tour, we stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse, we the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.